Yes, people, good morning. Good happy Sunday morning, people. Welcome back to Albert JTV. Match review time. The mighty Arsenal 4, the Yorkshire Grit of Leeds 1. But before we get into it, people, let's hit the intro. Footballing community, you should know what to do by now. Like, share, and subscribe. Welcome back to Albert JTV. A social media platform. Know what you're talking about, and what I mean by that is goals. ESR and Saka have done well. They've done okay. They've done well. Yes, people, welcome back to Albert JTV for another morning slot with myself and my brother Ray Cassib, like a breakfast show, man. But yes, listen, Arsenal 4, Leeds United 1. Back to the top by 8 points, because obviously I made a slip of the tongue yesterday when I did the fan cam. I said 5. But I'm doing a disservice to Arsenal. I can't believe it. But we're 8 points clear, people. Smash the like button like you normally do, and hopefully you'll tune in at some point. If not this morning, then you watch it back on the rerun, people. But let's get into it. I'm going to introduce my brother from another mother. Welcome back again for a Sunday slot after international break. Ray, welcome back, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Albert. Thanks again for having me, mate. It's been a little while since we've done a Sunday show because we've just been playing every Sunday for the last, 2 months, whatever, by the looks of it. So, yeah, it's great to be back. Thank you again for having me. And, again, just can't wait to get into this one.
Yeah, man. Look, I was at the game yesterday. Yeah, no, I don't know what it is. I love a 3 p.m. Saturday, I don't know what it is. I just...
Traditional football time, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Really is, yeah.
I'd love a 3 p.m. man. But yeah, man, it was. I was kind of confident going into the game. I actually went for a 3-1 win to Arsenal. I was pretty close. I generally did not think we'd keep a clean sheet, and I was right again, unfortunately. But
yeah,
Ray, let's sort of tap into it, mate. I'm just going to try and get it up on screen. Arsenal's team lineup. Saka on the bench, which I wasn't too disappointed with, if I'm being honest with you, because we need to look at other members of the team that can come in and step in, really. So what did you make of the team lineup quickly, mate?
Yeah, I think you touched on it there. Saka not starting, that was a bit of a shock, wasn't it, initially? But listen, if we're going to be the team that we want to be, the big team, and we're going to play in the best competitions, we're going to need to use our squad more. So yeah, with Saka being benched, and Trossard coming in with Gabriel Jesus as well, it was going to be interesting to see how we'd set up. And obviously Saka was absolutely rinsed by Gareth Southgate in a week, wasn't he? So
yes,
the rest was kind of needed.
Great goals,
but all in all. Yeah, fantastic. But all in all, got to be relatively pleased. Obviously, we can say that with the benefit of hindsight, but the lineup was pretty much as you expected, other than Saka.
Yeah, listen, I was thinking, like, obviously Leeds had Wilfred Noncho was injured. I think Tyler Adams was injured as well. I think there's one more. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
his name Wobber. I've probably butchered his name, but
well said, Ray. You remember it. I did it anyway. But no, so they had a couple of injuries going into it, so I thought I was even a little bit more confident. But I think when we play these games now, I think for the remainder of the games we've got this season, games are going to be like this. Right, so particularly we play at home at the Emirates, the teams are not gonna. I wouldn't say Leeds exactly part of the bus though, to be fair. And it's funny because having been in the game yesterday, I mean, we messaged when I got home from the Emirates eventually. That obviously Arsenal going to be game of the day, and actually, funny enough, they was at 8:30 on Sky Sports yesterday. So I actually watched the game back, and actually, you know what? To be fair, Ray. Even though us as Arsenal fans, you want us to win and go and blitz teams or play them off the park and getting behind their fullbacks, I actually thought Leeds did. I thought Leeds played well in the first half, to be honest.
I think they did. Yeah.
Come in, man. Come in.
Yeah, mate. I think they did play really well actually. That first half hour or so, they caused us some real problems. It's interesting to see that they set up from kickoff, didn't they? A bit like Bournemouth did, where they tried to catch us cold. So it's good to see that we've actually kind of learnt from that goal we conceded that time. Yeah, so Ramsdale was kept quite busy, wasn't he? Made a few crucial
It was.
saves here on. And yeah, like I say, I think they just made it very difficult for our wide players to get into the game, and they kind of
Mm.
just sort of said, "All right, if you're going to beat us, you've got to play through us, and then we'll try and catch you on the break." So yeah, just for the first sort of half hour, 35 or so, it was very frustrating, and we always had to be patient. Um, they had a number of good chances, didn't they? I think at
Yeah,
least
they
at least
created.
three saves. I
Yeah,
think
they yeah
Ramsdale made.
they created some good opportunities actually. Like I said, when I watched it back, I was like, good player Somerville actually. Is it Crescencio Somerville? I think his name is. Yeah, he had a really good sort of impactful sort of 30, 35 minutes for Leeds. And in terms of opportunities, I thought they actually created a bit more than us, or worked better areas. I think we only really had one chance that I remember, Ray, and I'm going to get the picture up on screen. All the listeners you can't see was the header from Gabriel Jesus. It's a good break actually, but I think that was the
Yeah,
only opportunity we really had. And that was an easy chance actually, because you could even see in the picture displayed on the screen that he was kind of backpedaling. The cross was just a little bit too high for him. But other than that, Ray, it was it was quite a patient, uneventful, should I say, for Arsenal in the first 30 minutes because we didn't really create anything.
yeah,
But so yeah, we sort of, and then obviously my favorite saying, Ray, goals do change games. And it did. A bit of trickery from Gabriel Jesus, and we win the penalty, my friend.
yeah. We did. It was Jesus, as you mentioned, bit of trickery. Sold one of their players. Um, then went to Luke Ayling. I don't know what he was doing. He dived in stupidly early. He was just on the floor,
Yeah, he
wasn't
did.
he?
Yeah,
And then he sort of left his foot up towards Jesus's knee. Listen, it's a soft foul, but it's a
yeah,
penalty. You know,
yeah,
I think there could be a bit of a debate, but in my opinion, it's definitely a foul. You catch him on the knee, nowhere near the ball. It's just clumsy, and he's had a bit of a nightmare. Luke Ayling, really. I think he got sent off in the game last season against Leeds, quite possibly.
I think he did. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, obviously he used to play for us back in the day as well, didn't he? So it's
he did.
obviously not a ground that he's very comfortable at by the looks of it, and long may that continue. Um, but yeah, it was a great bit of trickery, and you know, I sort of disagree a little bit what you said about Jesus' chance. I think that was actually a very good chance that he maybe, all right, maybe not should have scored it, but at least make the goalkeeper make a save. Um, but with this one, he made it completely himself, and
Yeah,
sometimes you need your striker to do that, don't you? You know,
yeah,
with all the creative talent we've got, you can't always get have chances created for you when it's a tight game like it was at that time. Sometimes you've got to have a bit of trickery and make your own chances, and that's exactly what Gabriel Jesus did.
yeah. I hear you with the header. I think like just looking at. I think at the time I thought when he had the chance, I thought, yeah, he looked like he was backpedaling a little bit, but yeah, he'll be disappointed at the target. But with the penalty, yeah, Luke Ayling, man. When I watched it back properly when I got home, I said, yeah, that's a definite pen. For me, it was anyway. I know you mentioned it being like a. I mean, I hear it a lot, like the soft foul one, but I generally thought when I saw it when I got back home, I thought, yeah, that definitely is a penalty,
It's
man.
a foul, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
a foul.
in terms of penalty itself, I think at the time I was like, I wonder who's going to take this actually. Because I thought it'd either be Martinelli or Odegaard, but do you think that was a ploy in terms of because we saw it at the Newcastle game against Forest a few weeks ago when
Yeah, that was it. Trippier, isn't it?
Kieran Trippier smartly picked up the ball
Yeah,
and he wasn't taking a penalty. Do you think that was what? Do you think that's what was the plan?
I think exactly that, mate. To be fair, it works, doesn't it? It really does. You
Yeah,
know, the
it
penalty
does.
taker can take 2 minutes to go, compose themselves, whilst the person holding the ball gets all the grief. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see that as a tactic. You know, until further notice. Really, I think that will just be a thing in football now. But yeah, really cool penalty, wasn't it? Martin Odegaard shielding the ball, proper captain, and Jesus absolutely sent Meslier, didn't he? Just waited for him to move, and then coolly put it in the goal, just down the middle. I think that was his first goal as well since October. So yeah, really pleased to have him scoring again.
That's the thing, because that's the thing, because I mean, before the injury, before the World Cup, obviously his goal scoring record wasn't probably to shout home about, but because where he offered so much more to his game than just the goals, and obviously it helped that the other guys in the team, goals by committee, people, as we often say, kind of, we didn't really need the goals, but yeah, it was massive for him to get back on the score sheet as quickly as possible, because even when he came back against Fulham in his first game back, like when he came on as a cameo, he had a chance to score in that game as well, but he still missed.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but yeah, glad to see him get that goal, man. Even as a penalty, I don't really care, because goals, they breed confidence, man. Because up until then, really, the goal, like we mentioned, there wasn't really much opportunities created. Listen, I love Trossard, by the way. Listen, I wasn't one of the fans that was saying, "Oh God, he's 28, so we must take him to retirement home already." But yeah, I thought we missed that combination play a little bit on Saka's side of the pitch, obviously with him not starting. But listen, as we mentioned before, we can't expect the guy to play every single game. But yeah, I thought we got the goal. Definitely a change in momentum and definitely a change in pattern of play, because I thought it was a lot better. Would you agree? For the remainder of the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I like I said a bit earlier, I think Leeds set up in a way that they were just trying to keep the score at 0-0 as long as they could, and try and either nick one. Obviously, they tried to get one very early, as we mentioned, with the kickoff. So as soon as we scored, it kind of looked like their game plan was just completely out the window a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they had to come and actually attack us, which, if you want to then play football with us this season, normally we win. No chance. So yeah, it was always going to be a very difficult game for Leeds after that.
No, well said, man. No, it's like I said, goals change games, man. I said this to a couple of guys talking to yesterday at the game. Simple as that. You 0-0, 15 minutes in, 0-0, 25 minutes in, 0-0, 30 minutes in.
And then it really seemed to give us a lift as well, didn't it? I mean, you were there in the stadium. I don't know if it gave the crowd a bit of a lift as well.
Yeah.
And like I say, they did frustrate us for half an hour or so. But as you mentioned, goals do change games.
It's true. And you make a good point at sort of the start of the stream when you said about, because I thought, you know what? This is Bournemouth part 2, man, with the start. I was like, oh my God, this guy's true. I said, this can't happen again, man. But Ramsdale, again, you know what? To be fair to him, as one position on the pitch that you probably won't have nothing to do for about 89 minutes. And then you got to be cool. You got to be ready when you're called upon, man. And Ramsdale done it in quite a few games this season. I'd have to sort of look back on it and go, yeah, that game made crucial saves. He done it against Bournemouth, obviously, off the top of my head, at home recently.
Yeah,
he did it again yesterday. There's been a couple games, to be fair. Even in some of the parts of the Europa League games, he made some big saves, man. And that should not go unnoticed of our Rambo Ramsdale people. But listen, we come out second half, Ray. Absolutely killed the game. A lot better, a little bit of momentum from getting the goal in the first half, 35 minutes, and then you had a good sort of 10-minute period. Come out second half, absolutely blitz them. And as we know, one of my favorites, Super Benny Boy Blanco, man.
What Blanco?
Yeah, Blanco, man. But yeah, listen, great momentum. That is the way to start second half, right?
Oh, if Carlsberg starts the second half, right? It'd be something like that. No, it's incredible. I think you mentioned you watched Game of the Day, so did I. And the commentator mentioned literally 10 seconds before we scored that Man City had come out and scored first thing in the second half. Can we do something similar? And that's exactly how it panned out. Really good bit of play, really good bit of movement. I think it's Martinelli that gets the ball, isn't it, on the left, and just puts a cross in. It could go anywhere. The first man could clear it, the goalkeeper could get it. But it's just one of those teasing balls that just go right to the back post. And I think it's Jack Harrison that's just not picking up Ben White. It goes in there. Initially, when it hit the bar, I was thinking, oh, God. But then, it was just for effect, wasn't it? Just went in off the bar and in. And absolutely love to see a Ben White goal. More goals than Richarlison this season as well.
Yeah, Ray, I'm glad you said that because I did mention that in my fan coming on yesterday that he's got more. Benny Blanco, man, Benny White. It is amazing with him, Ben White. We'll probably might touch on him a little bit more, but to think Arsenal fans, we got him from Brighton. I know that sort of triggered a lot of Arsenal fans, but listen, you buy players within the league that are able to adapt quickly, and he's been excellent. I mean, offensively, wow. He's been super impressive. And like I said, the relationship he's worked up with Bukayo Saka in particular, and that sort of triangular play with him, Odegaard and Saka, Ben White's been tremendous. And like you mentioned, more goals than Richarlison, man. And great ball in by Martinelli, by the way. Great, another assist, man. Absolutely incredible. So 2-0 up, Ray. But that it doesn't stop there, Ray. It does not stop there at all. We go and get Jesus is second goal, right? Yes, we do. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, when we got that, for me, it was definitely game over. What about you?
Yeah, I think we just completely killed it then, really, didn't we? As soon as we scored that. Again, great movement, great play. Trossard just showing what an absolute quality addition he's been. I don't want to keep throwing shades at other clubs because we are top and we are absolutely loving life. But if looking at Mudryk play yesterday, it's just completely different. And you mentioned it there when you said about buying players from within the league. It's so crucial because Trossard's been able to come in and just adapt seamlessly because he already knows the league. Great bit of play, and like I say, puts the ball in the 6-yard box, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And fantastic movement from Jesus. I know when he has been fit, he's been criticised a little bit for the lack of goals, but that's a pure goal scorer's goal, isn't it? He's right in there, and fantastic goal from open play as well, which is always great to see.
Exactly. The guy Lineker could have been proud of that. Pippo Inzaghi, Christian Vieri, all them years back gone by. Yeah, listen,
it was a proper goal scorer's goal, wasn't it?
Yeah. You're right, Ray. You put the ball in the danger area, Trossard. It's funny because it's amazing when you watch a game in the stadium and you watch it back. Because I don't know, I want to get your thoughts quickly, actually. With Trossard, I don't know if you heard the stat. I heard it yesterday when Mikel Arteta was being interviewed. I saw it on Haters TV. And he said that I think Trossard has got more assists than I think like 10 of the other Premier League clubs. Like I think it's either the turn of since the new World Cup, or it might be I think it might have been the turn of the World Cup. The question, but that's an amazing stat, man. And obviously we saw the funny press.
7 or 8 now, wasn't it?
Yeah, amazing. I don't know if you saw the press conference with Mikel Arteta when he was asked about that question in particular. The response was fantastic by Mikel Arteta. For those who haven't seen it, he has what did he say? Something about dreams or something about that. Did you hear the comment?
Wild dreams or something?
Yeah, yes, wild dreams.
I think the reporter asked him in his wildest dreams, did you expect him to do this? And he has said, I'm not going to do the impression, but yeah. What a legend.
Great stuff. Yeah, the boss, the gaffer. But yeah, the first half, Trossard, I thought he wasn't as impactful as he has been when he started or even come on. And that's not to say he was playing bad, but in the second half, he was a lot better. I thought he was more influential in the game. I like the way Arsenal, and I've always cried about this. I've had sleepless nights about it the last 3-4 years. I want to see a front three that has got flexibility. And boy, do we have
absolutely.
That. You saw the interchange constantly. Martinelli would go on the right, Trossard would come in the middle, Jesus would pull out to the left. Trossard in the middle, Martinelli to the left. It was brilliant to see. It's tough in the first half, but the interchange for me is so impressive, man. But yeah, Trossard, sorry, man. How well has he done, man? Listen, I was one of, I don't know how you thought when we signed him, but I just couldn't understand any Arsenal fans hesitation. But unfortunately, and we have seen it for a number of years, where they question everything. Sections, he's
Yeah.
28. You know, look how he fell out with Roberto De Zerbi, and I'm like, look, just cut through the BS. He's a very, very good player technically. Listen, I'm even seeing big YouTubers who are not even Arsenal fans making content saying, you know what, this guy is a baller. Ray, come in, mate.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think he was. I think he's been the sign of the January window.
Yeah,
At
Upton said
least
that in the
for
commentary.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's been brilliant. And listen, you know, Arsenal is such a big club. We've got such a big fan base. Is that, you know, you're not going to please everyone all of the time. But
No.
but how I look at it is, we got a proven Premier League player. He was on form this season anyway. We go to Anfield next week, and he's already got experience of scoring a hat trick there. You know, the only reason he left Brighton was because of his contract, and he wanted to move on, which is very fair enough. And yeah, technically he's excellent. He can go left or right; it doesn't matter. I do think that maybe the right side, not that he can't play there. I just think that he's better in all the other positions.
Yeah.
On the other sides through the middle, and the fact that we have Bukayo Saka that plays there as well, obviously is levels. That's, you know, so when he is there, maybe he doesn't look as good as Saka. But that's not to take away from him at all, because he's still a fantastic player. You can plug him in, you can play him anywhere, and the levels never really drop. So even when Jesus came off, I believe Trossard went through the middle, didn't he? And all right, our game changed a little bit, but in terms of the levels and how we actually played, I don't believe there was that much of a drop off. And although he's quite small and nimble, he's so tricky, man, isn't he? Like, he can, like I say, just gets the ball. He can go absolutely anyway. Must be an absolutely nightmare for defenders.
No, fair play. Yeah, he is. He's an absolute flaming nightmare for defenders. He definitely is, man. But no, you know what? It was sort of, before I lose my train of thought. Getting the third goal, like, you know, 2 goals in 10, 15 minutes in the second half. Start the second half, game was done. Then the 2 things for me were, can we get a clean sheet, and can we add more goals? We did one and we didn't do the other, put it that way. But so yeah, again, very frustrating conceding the goal we did. We could have pressed a bit better. We could have cleared our lines a bit better. But to be fair to Aaron Ramsdale, he would have saved it if it wasn't for the deflection, because it was straight down his eye line. And just that little touch of Zinchenko, and we conceded the goal, man. So yeah, we still only have 3 clean sheets at home. Even our home record is actually, we've only lost to City at home. So, you know, it's not a bad record at home, is it? To be fair, our away record's better in terms of clean sheets. But yeah, again, that would annoy Arsenal not getting a clean sheet. You saw Ramsdale's reaction as well. But for Ray, I don't know about you, but I mean, being at the stadium when they got to make it 3-1, it was like a 2 kind of 3-minute period where you thought, you know what, if they get another one, it's going to get really restless in that stadium, man. Trust me. But we managed to get the 4th goal with Granit Xhaka, fantastic header. But what a pass by Martin Odegaard, man! That was brilliant. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, it was outstanding, wasn't it? Just to go quickly back on the goal we conceded, it was disappointing.
Yeah,
I do believe that Zinchenko needs to just face that, whether he takes that in the chest, in the face, wherever. He needs to make sure he's blocking that, because he turns his back on it. I think it's actually going straight at Ramsdale, in fairness, if it wasn't there.
It is, definitely.
So it was poor to give him the time and space. I believe it's Christensen that scored it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was frustrating in that respect. But and we saw from the All or Nothing documentary that Ramsdale will be in that dressing room fuming, even though we won 4-1. He'll be fuming. But but we are scoring 3 or 4 goals. I think it's only Leicester in the last 7 games, I believe, that we've only scored 1 goal, and then the rest it's been 3s and 4s. So you can't really complain. And yeah, going back to the Xhaka goal, I do just love a quality header like that.
Good
The
header,
fact that he just
really good
peels
header.
away from the Leeds defence, onside, has the space, and Martin Odegaard just has the awareness to pick him out. It was a good ball in, and there's still quite a lot to do. But there's still quite a lot to do with it, because Xhaka still needs to get the guidance on it to get it on target, and he basically put it top bins, didn't he? Was it Melier goal for Leeds?
Yeah,
he's just watching it. He's just watching it and has absolutely no chance. So, as soon as we do that, game over. Again, you were in the ground, so you probably better tell me different. But the one thing I could say about Arsenal this year or this season is that when we do score or we do concede, the crowd doesn't let it affect them. We back the team, we start cheering, we start, getting behind them. And, we know that we're more than capable of going back up the other end and scoring again. And that just really deflates the opposition, which it seemed to on this occasion.
Yeah, no, well said, man. Listen, order was restored back at the Emirates with a 3-goal gap. But listen, I think we're a couple behind in terms of goal difference behind City, which is good. Yeah, like you said, Ramsdale be like not kicking himself, but just obviously the fact that Arsenal conceded. You can see it really with the reaction with the players when the goal went in. But yeah, the crowd have been amazing this season, man. Which Ray will touch on quickly about some of the seats that were not taken very quickly. We'll talk about that in a minute, but shame, really a big shame, to be fair. Let me come to that question quickly. The Guna dude, thank you for tuning in, Matthew, big top man. I see Jenny's in the chat. I'm gonna get her chat up in a minute. I think it's up. Yeah, Ray. Here's a question: what's your preferred front three out of Martinelli, Trossard, Saka, and Jesus? I think the fact before you answer, Ray, I think the fact you're asking the question, Guna dude, 1293, for me is a positive. I know what my front three would be. What about you, Ray?
Yeah, big up Guna dudes.
Yes.
I'd probably go if I had to choose. If we were playing the last game of the season to win the league next week,
well, good shout.
I would probably go Martinelli, a fully fit Gabriel Jesus, and Bukayo Saka.
Yeah.
Reluctantly, I would have to drop Trossard or put him on the bench as an impactor if that's what you want to.
Yeah.
Nothing to, like I mentioned earlier, I really do rate Trossard, but I just think that front three was our first choice front three, and it's worked so well at times. I believe that having Jesus in there is so beneficial to Martinelli. He just looks a different player with Jesus in there. He nearly scored from about 40 yards, didn't he? If unfortunately Aylen got back and cleared it.
Yeah.
But we know what Saka can do. But it's weird because we're so used, or I got so used as an Arsenal fan to watch players like Aubameyang and Lacazette and these sorts of players where we rely on one or two players to get us through games. Now we've got players all across the board that can chip in and will help. And there's partnerships everywhere. And I believe that's fundamentally why we're such a strong team this year. So with that front three and the rest of the team around them, I would go Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, and Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, same here, mate. I'd agree 100%. And that's like you said, it's nothing on Trossard, but I think, like you said, the context you use, if it's a must-win game, or you go to 11, you would go those front three. And as well, you know what it is as well. I think, listen, you're right about the reference in regards to us as Arsenal fans having to rely on goals from certain people or a certain person over years gone by. But the proof is in the pudding. Like I've mentioned it, and I'll keep mentioning it to the end of the season, Ray, because it needs to be highlighted more. Because I've banged on about in terms of the strikers and the chemistry and the fluidity and the interchange and rest of it. But between, obviously, I think it's between Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard, including yesterday, I think it's 55 goal contributions in the Premier League. Wow, people. That's what I'm talking about.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if we had that last season, to be fair. So, it really is incredible.
Yeah.
And we had, I think we've got 14 different goal scorers in the league this season.
Yeah.
I know you always mention about goals from committee, don't you? By committee. That's exactly it. We don't have an Erling Haaland, unfortunately, but what we do have is we have, I think every one of our first 11, bar the goalkeeper, has scored. So our outfield players at least.
Come on, Ramsdale.
And yeah, oh, can you imagine? Penalty on the last day of the season. It's got to be Ramsdale, isn't it? But yeah, like I say, we've just got goals everywhere. We've just got such a fluidity and great understanding and great partnerships all throughout the team, all throughout the squad as well. When we do bring players on, they come straight into it. As we mentioned, with a player like Trossard, he can come in, plug, play. We've seen Reece Nelson at times come in and do some amazing things for Arsenal. Eddie Nketiah, when he's been fit and available, has deputised for Jesus brilliantly. In defence, Rob Holding. We almost forget Saliba was missing yesterday, because Rob Holding absolutely brilliant again yesterday. Won everything in the air. I thought he was good on the ball as well. That's it. Look, it's almost like I knew what you were going to do, isn't it? We've got an understanding a bit like Gabriel and Holding, to be fair. So it's all good. It's all good.
We have.
And I mean, it's listen. How I describe it is that Rob Holding is a bald man that has his hair back, and he's playing with that sort of confidence. And long may it continue, mate.
Yeah, listen, I thought I'd get that. You timed it perfectly, actually. You're right, Ray. The telepathy between me and Ray Kassim is incredible, people. all the listeners, you won't know what we're talking about, but we've got an image on screen in terms of Rob Holding's performance yesterday. 11 duels, 5 clearances, and 91% pass completion. He did play well yesterday. It went under the radar, so that's why I'm glad you brought him up, and I wanted to get that graphic on the screen, people. But I just want to quickly talk to you about Jesus, man. One thing I've said, as you can see, people, he's beautifully demonstrated in the back to my right shoulder. To your people, it'd be on your, to people watching, it'll be on their left, innit? Is that right? Yeah, I think
on the left,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. As you can see the beautiful Gabriel Jesus, man, modelled in the background. Big up Sedi Sketches, Fran Goal Art. So that's who made that fantastic T-shirt. Listen, he's massive. It's not just the goals with him, yeah. Ray, when he done that bit of skill, I was crying. I said, this guy, man, when he flicked it over Christensen's head. You know what it is? It's his ability to stretch defenses, and not just that. His ball retention is brilliant. For someone who's not 6'6" and built like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, his ability to keep hold of the ball is fantastic. And that's what I thought we missed, as well as Eddie done well when he was in deputizing for Jesus. His ball retention, it to me needs to be worked on, or is not that great. So that's why with Jesus being back in the team, glad to get another 60 minutes under his belt. But yeah, his ball retention is amazing. I'm so glad he got a couple goals, and just great to get him back, Ray, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. It's weird because I don't think we've had a striker like him.
No,
really, ever that I can remember. It's weird. I mean, Lacazette last season was doing the holding up the ball and coming, into midfield and sort of linking the play, but he wasn't able to sort of get up the pitch into the box either, was he? Meanwhile, Gabriel Jesus is just so tricky and a bit like Trossard in a way. You don't know where he's going. He's got incredible skill. He can get around players like they're not even there, and he can just knit the attack to the midfield almost effortlessly at times.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been absolutely a massive signing for us, considering he's missed 3 months of the season as well. Actually shows the influence he's had on the team.
Yeah, Ray, just come in quickly, Ray. Yeah, just make sure you say that to Ten Hag, because obviously we've had our fully fit squad.
Oh mate, ever since he piped up, we're just getting injuries every week now. But it's it is what it is. But yeah, listen, he's been absolutely brilliant, and City will get the plaudits for yesterday's game because they won without Haaland, and rightly so, because they were brilliant. But he was missing for 1 game. We've missed Gabriel Jesus for 3 months, and
exactly.
We've still kept the levels, and now he's come back, and you can see he's elevated them. He just needs game times, fitness, and well, he's got a couple of goals yesterday. They'll inevitably come as well.
Yeah. Now, well said. Listen, I've never been I've never been so more happy to see Thomas Partey come off, untouched, unscathed, nice 60, 70 minutes, bring him off, the game's done. Obviously, Jesus got another 60 minutes, which is important. And yeah, listen, we've got a big game next week, which we'll touch on a tiny bit, not too much. But I heard a stat about Saka yesterday, actually. I don't know if you know. I think 71, he's featured in 71 consecutive Premier League games.
Consecutive appearances,
Yeah.
Madness, mate, madness. Considering he's what, 21, 22?
Yeah.
21?
Yeah, 21.
You know, that's almost what, like 2.5 seasons, sorry.
Yeah.
If you look at it like that, just, consecutive, it's incredible. And
so Jenny, I do know what you mean. I do. I definitely do know. Love Jenny. Go on, Jenny.
I'll definitely be entering that if you do. But yeah, mate, it was. But yeah, Saka, the fact that he's been able to play and that he gets kicked as well, that's something that I don't think has been highlighted as much with this run of games. That he gets kicked and knocked.
Ray, you know what's funny? You know when we got the fourth goal. I remember like it yesterday. I don't know if you remember. It might not have been on people's minds, but before the lead up to the fourth goal, Saka got the ball on the right. Yeah, Ray, I'm no word of a lie. There must have been about 5 Leeds players that came over to him after he passed it.
I thought they were going to ask for a selfie or something, mate. The amount of people that sort of flocked over, it was incredible.
It was crazy. I thought, wow. Like,
yeah.
He's only been on for like 5 minutes and he's getting that kind of attention already.
It's mad, isn't it? Can you imagine being 3-0 or 3-1 down and then arguably the best right winger or the most informed right winger in world football comes on?
Yeah.
Incredible, mate. So, yeah, absolutely brilliant. And yeah, like I say, Saka's ceiling is almost limitless, isn't it? God willing, no injuries. He will be a phenomenal player. And he's already had a phenomenal career at the Arsenal. Long may that continue. Hopefully signs the team.
Yeah. Listen, I think that's imminent. From what we hear, kind of the whispers and the talks. Whether you believe who you want to follow, people, Wheatleaf, Romano, Ornstein, the Ornicle. So once you hear it from them people, then you know it's definite. But listen, I think it's only a matter of time. Obviously, someone's mentioned Gabriel. Yeah, you know what? Every time I watch him, Ray, I think, you know what? We got him and Saliba for 27 million euros each, man. We've committed robbery in footballing crime terms. Getting them two for he gets better every week, man. Just a colossal of a centre back, physically imposing as you would want your centre back to be. There's a lot better on the ball than a lot of people give him credit for. Every week I see him play home and away. He's just I love him. I think he's been amazing. He's been fantastic since he's been at Arsenal. What do you make of him, man?
Oh, mate, he's immense, isn't he? I know he struggled a little bit sort of last season at times and beginning of this season, I think he was struggling a little bit. You have to excuse me. I was asked on, I think, on another podcast, but I can't remember which it was, earlier on in the season about Gabriel. And this is when he was struggling and should we take him out the team or not? And I remember saying back then is that, give this guy a chance. Let him just play, let him fall to partnerships. Let him play every week as long as he's fit. He's got all the attributes. He's 6'3". He's powerful. He's good in the air. He can score goals. He can cover spaces. He can mark. It's just sometimes he switches off. But it looks like what's happened is that he's actually corrected that and he's staying focused for 90 minutes. He also has to cover the space that Zinchenko vacates because listen, Zinchenko's the left back, but I'm pretty sure I saw him on the right ring at times and in midfield and all sorts of places. So it's his job is really underrated and a phenomenal job he's doing. He's also playing alongside, and again, I love Rob Holding, as we mentioned, but he's playing with a different centre back rather than Saliba, where he's got used to that partnership. You know what I mean? Rob Holding is a different type of defender who doesn't maybe have the pace that Saliba has, so he's kind of got to adjust his game in that respect. But yeah, he's an absolute colossus, isn't he? And long may it continue. I think he signed his contract this year as well, or this season, quite possibly.
He did. During the season, he did. You're right.
Yeah. So it just looks like he's going from strength to strength. And again, we've got such a young side, man. I think he's, again, 24, 25.
Yeah, 24.
You think just by watching him, he's, been playing he's been here for 10 years. So, yeah, we've got a real special player there on our hands.
Good shout, man. Great shout. People, if you don't know what to do by now, this is what you should do after a short intro. There you go, people. Nightclub acid intro into subscribe to Albert JTV. But yeah, listen, Ray, we ain't got much long left. But yeah, listen, we've got 72 points now. I believe 27 points available still to play for. So I get why Arsenal fans still have nervous breakdowns and can't believe it, and the trophies in the distance and the rest of it. But I was talking to I met Graham outside the ground yesterday. Actually, big up Graham Brooks. I love him, man.
Big up Graham Brooks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's saying the kind of he reckons 91 points will probably get it done. And I think, you know what? I stand by what I say, Ray, with the games we've got left. By the way, I think Brighton at home is going to be tricky, by the way. Especially after the way they're playing at the moment as well. Really good team, man. And they score goals, which they have, which is not what they've been. Which as good as the football was under Potter, they were struggling to score goals, and lo and behold, he's got the same problem at Chelsea. But listen, it is what it is. But yeah, Brighton at home be tough. But I think I maintain what I say. We still got to go away to St James's Park, the Etihad, and Anfield, which is coming up obviously next Sunday. We can still lose to City and win the league. I still do believe. I still think they will drop points. Man City. Don't care what anyone tells me. They got some tricky away games still to play. I think they've got to go to Brentford away and Fulham away as well. And there's another fixture in there as well. I think it's Brighton they've got to go away to as well. I believe, if I'm off the top of my head. So listen,
Brightford,
Brightford,
Brighton and Brentford, I think as well. So they've got to play.
Yeah. So Ray, do you think it's a case of I think it is. I think the pressure's more on City, man. To be honest, what do you think?
Yeah, I believe so, because they have to win.
Yeah, 100%,
you know what I mean.
Man.
Like we have a cushion, so we can afford to lose one game, and if we win every single game, we win the league. At the same time, we can't be complacent. As Jenny mentioned, there every game is a cup final. I know it sort of gets sick of hearing it, don't you? But it really is. You kind of got to just take again, really boring answer, and you'll hear it from the manager and players and everyone else. But you've got to take every game by game. As fans, of course, we're going to look at the fixtures and we're going to say, right, we're going to get points here and possibly drop points there. It is what it is. But they've got to assess the team they have. God willing, we've got no injuries or suspensions or anything like that. And see the players we've got, and then focus on the team we're playing against. So, yeah, I agree. There is a lot of pressure on City because, if they lose one game and we win, all of a sudden it's going to be a very tall order for them to come back. And, the sheer amount of games they've got to play as well. I think they've got to play another sort of 5, I think. If they get knocked out of the cup competitions, I think it's another 5 games on top of what we've got to play. So we've just got to, we play one game a week. Like we said, just absolutely put 100% in for every single game. But yeah, it's going to be nervy. As you mentioned, I believe City will drop points. I also believe we will, unfortunately, as well.
Yeah, we will.
I will. I can't tell you where or which teams, but it's going to happen. We're going to have games where, for whatever reason, it goes against us. Maybe we were just not at it. Maybe the team we're playing is just unbelievable. It might be a dodgy refereeing decision. Who knows? But what we got to do is we just got to keep our levels as high as they've been. As a fan base, it's going to be nervous, but we just got to stick with it. We've just got to be. If you're there at the game, you've just got to be as positive as you can. Get behind the team, and together we can win this league.
Well said, Ray. Yeah, I think next week, sort of touch on next week's game. It's obviously a week today, 4:30 kickoff. Now, I've made no secret of this when I've said this before on previous shows or maybe on other people's channels as well. But if there's one result I want as an Arsenal fan, and obviously you've got no given right to go and turn teams over on their home patch, is Liverpool away.
Yeah.
I won't say it's been due. I just think there's times we've gone over there over the years, and I think people already know the result before we even got there. I think for me, my only caution playing them is, and I mentioned yesterday when I did the fan cam on AFTV, is that with Liverpool it's a hard one because you can get the Liverpool that turned up against Manchester United and pummel them 7-0, or you get the team that turned up against Bournemouth the following week and lose 1-0, and they were poor.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a tough one. I think we've got this is probably our best chance to go there for me in recent years and go and get a win. Having said that, it's not going to be easy. And there's one game, like I said, Ray, I want us to go and win, is to go and get 3 points at Anfield. And we can go and do it. And Jenny's mentioned the injuries thing. Obviously, the main one at the moment is Saliba, which is difficult because it's a back injury, and you've got to manage them well. You can play, but it depends how bad it is. But yeah, what's your thoughts about the Anfield game coming up next week, mate?
Yeah, I agree. It will be an extreme difficult game. I don't care what form they're in, what players they're missing, or what midfield they have, or Klopp's in his 7th season.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's going to be a difficult game. I might not like Liverpool very much, but I certainly respect him. Listen, going to Anfield, what you mentioned there was that they can beat United 7-0, but then lose to Bournemouth or go to the Etihad and get destroyed. The difference is that Liverpool in those games weren't playing at Anfield. Now, I know earlier on in the season, I think Leeds have got results there, and as I mentioned earlier, Trossard got a hat-trick and a 3-3 draw with Brighton. And there'll be other games as well that I can't think of off the top of my head that they drop the points in. But what we need to do is we just need to set up in a way that is going to stop them from being effective. If we can cut off their forward line, then I believe that we can win that game, no problem. Because defensively, although they've got the same players they've had when they've been successful in the last few years, for whatever reason, I don't know, they just don't look at it at all, don't they? Van Dijk might as well have his brother playing there at the moment because he does not look like the same player.
Is that Dick Van Dijk, is it? I'm not sure, man.
Oh, he's aged like him, isn't he? But honestly, it's like I say, if we can stop the supply, because that's what worries me, the forward players that Liverpool have, and that they could score a goal out of nothing. So if we can restrict them and stop them from doing that, that will be massive. If we can, it's difficult to, it's easier said than done, but if we can get the crowd silenced or at least not riled up, that's another thing as well. What will do that is by going 1 or 2 goals up and then just frustrating them. That will work in our favour. I'm hoping that Arteta doesn't argue with Klopp again and that doesn't rile the crowd up. I'm hoping that this week in training he's not playing You'll Never Walk Alone. But you never know, mate. You never know. He
might come up with something else.
Oh God, yeah. Just Klopp's excuses, just on a tape recorder, just in the background or something. But yeah, like I say, I fully respect Anfield, and we haven't got a good record there.
No.
So if we can go there and put in a really good performance in terms of defensive wise, like I say, if we stop them, I believe we'll score at least 1 goal there because of the defense that they've got. But in terms of letting them in, this goes back to conceding the poor goals we have conceded recently. We just need to make sure that we're absolutely on it and we just don't give them anything.
Yeah, you know what it is. I think you've known in the time you've known me. Like with these games, I know some Arsenal fans get absolutely petrified. I'm quite different in that way. I think this time round's a bit different going to Anfield. Well, I hope it is anyway. But I'm not in trepidation as I have been when we've gone to these grounds. But like I said, for me, it's a personal thing for me. I know some Liverpool fans. I can't stand them, Rev, if I'm being honest with you. And that's been the case for years. So that's why when we beat him at the Emirates, that result meant everything to me, man. And I made that very, very clear in public. But I think to go there and get a win, wow, would be massive. Not just, and when I say massive, I don't just mean in terms of us going there and obviously trying to cement the league title. I think for us as fans to have belief when we go to Anfield over the next 3 or 4 years, however many years it's going to be, that we can go there and go and win and be competitive and not get rolled over in the first 15, 20 minutes, because we've seen a lot of pain when we've gone to a lot of our rival clubs' away grounds. And that is, hopefully that will be shifted a bit more. We still got City to play away as well. And obviously Newcastle. And I think we've gone to Chelsea and won 1-0. Yeah, we've gone to Chelsea away this season and won 1-0 away. I don't care how what they've been like. Stamford Bridge is not good ground for us.
That was a dominant 1-0 as well.
Yeah,
that was a really, really good performance. Yeah,
it was,
and that's the kind of performance I'm talking about. Yeah. If we can play something like that at Anfield.
Yeah, and we went.
Yeah, go on. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, that's all right. And we went to Tottenham away, and we did a double over for the first time in almost 10 years. That's massive, man. It's massive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Us as Arsenal fans, whatever your age, we've gone to these grounds predominantly away. And a little bit at home where we're not at the races and we don't get the results that we need to be to show that we're competing again and we're Arsenal and we're back and the rest of it. Next Sunday is huge for a number of different reasons for me. And like I said, if Arsenal can go and get the positive result, then I can smile like a Cheshire cat and my cheekbones will be touching the ceiling. So listen, we're still a week away, but listen, we'll sort of touch on it when it gets a bit nearer to the game. But I want to thank the massive, amazing people in the chat for your amazing comments. You've done well. Like I said, it is Sunday morning. So it is Sunday morning, people. So I understand why you want to be in bed and not come out of bed and eat breakfast and watch loads of Sunday morning television, whatever you're doing in the Sunday. But big up to people in the chat, man, for your amazing interaction. Let me go through some of the comments quickly, Ray, before we wrap up. Arteta changed things at the back, got Gabriel going forward and holding the staying deep. We will be fighting against Liverpool. Tough game, but I'll be backing our boys. Records are there to be broken. 100%. 100%. Very, very true.
Bang on.
Yeah. Good old Jenny's. Yeah, it's it. United fought the same.
Vamos.
They're different.
What a banner, by the way.
Yeah. We still got. Yeah, it's some. I get what you're saying, Yomi. I do get that. I think Arsenal are slowly beginning to sort of move that. If you're going on what you've seen this season, and maybe a couple of results last season, we're slowly beginning to sort of change that narrative a little bit more, which is important for us as Arsenal fans. But yes, big up Jenny in chat. Jenny, virtual hug and kiss. Can't wait to meet you eventually, man. But Ray, what a show, man! Another Monday show, another Sunday show. Morning show done.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
No, thanks for coming on, man. Tell the people where they can find you, man.
Oh, no problem at all. Thanks again for having me, mate. I'm on Twitter, Ray_Kasim. I have just set Instagram up as well, but I haven't posted anything on there. So maybe next time, if you have me on, then I'll have a little bit of something going on there. But just again, thank you for having me. And I just wanted to mention as well about the passing of Rocky Rocastle.
Yes,
he was a player that, to be fair, it was a bit before my time. But when you know the history and you learn the history of the team you support, you can see what an influence he had. And it was really fitting actually that it was Leeds that we played, because that was the team he was also associated with.
He did.
And again, I heard chants, the Rocky Rocastle chants throughout the game as well. So what an absolute legend. And just my condolences go out to his friends and close family, or family and close friends, should I say. Absolute legend of the club, of the game, and from what I can see, seemed like an absolute gentleman. So may you rest in peace.
Yeah, well said, man. Listen, I had a quick conversation with the beautiful KC, man. Put out a great post the other day, and obviously right, and many people did, but I was lucky enough. I was young, but I remember it, like you say, I was lucky enough to see this guy play, man. Very, very fortunate. Fantastic player, man. Ability. You know, people have retweeted that goal he scored against Manchester United when, you know what I mean, you're dubbing two players like the quality of Paul Ince and Brian Robson you're talking about. And then, you know, chipping it over Peter Schmeichel. But yeah, Rocastle, man, lucky enough, even though I was young, to remember him playing an Arsenal shirt. And that brilliant, iconic picture of with Saka wearing a number 7 shirt. I think it is from last season. I'm not too sure.
Years ago or something.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. But yeah, fantastic. But yeah,
and the influence he had with Righty as well was just immense, wasn't it? And just you know,
the relationship.
Who knows if Rocastle weren't here, maybe Ian Wright wouldn't have been the player. He was a phenomenal player anyway, but maybe he wouldn't have had the passion and the career that he had at the Arsenal. So yeah, big up to Rocastle.
Yeah, 100%, man. But people, as you know, your host, Albert JTV. Yes, cover, subscribe, and yeah, guys, thank you for the support, man. I often say it because it's important. One of my favorite sayings is, you know, 21 plus VAT and the rest of it. But one of the most important sayings I always say, which is very important for me, is people's time is everything. You don't guarantee people's time. People don't have to come and watch your content. People don't have to like it even. People don't even have to share it. But yes, like I said, people's time is everything. And it does mean a lot to people that will come and tune in and come and say hello to me outside of games. I'm like, I'm sorry, you have to tell me who you are, because Twitter's a big platform. So unless you distinctly know what someone looks like, but it's nice. It is a nice thing. Like I said, I often talk about many sides of the aspect of doing YouTube content creating. Good versus evil, bad and good, and this is bad, this is good. There's a lot to talk about, but yeah, I appreciate people's time, because it is everything. So big up to you guys. Next show, I'll have to get back to you, but like I said, hopefully I'll have a weekly surgery exclusive coming up. The person has agreed to come on, but like I said, he's a very, very busy person, so it will come. He's agreed to come on, which I'm stoked about. So it'd be good to get his thoughts about Arsenal. So yes, I'll keep that stum for now, hopefully. But big up to people in the chat, like I said. And yeah, it's Albert JTV over and out for another Sunday morning breakfast match review with my bro Ray Kassim. See you soon, people.
How many guys?